Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be sharing a tutorial with you on how I print on tea bags and also the process of how to make some journaling cards out of these. So I'm going to be using a digital kit for this because what you actually need to do is use your printer to print on these tea bags, okay? And then all I've done is I've just printed some journaling cards out of the Artie Maze digital kit. I think it's the butterfly digital kit, not butterfly, dragonfly digital kit, and I'll leave all the kit details down below, so do go ahead and check out her store. So I've printed those out and I intend to embellish them with the printed tea bags, but if you didn't have any, you can also use some tea stained postcards, or not even tea stained if you didn't like tea stained. So what I'll do is I'll just add on the printed tea bag like that and I'll embellish it. I'll show you how I embellish a couple of them, and then I will just show you the finished products of what I've done at the end as well. You can also just use lined paper like this as a journaling card and you can embellish it. And what I then did with this, you can see in my previous videos, I'll leave the link down below, previous video that I did for the nature themed journal, I embellished this and then I just use it as a side tuck, pocket, or you could just leave it freestanding as a journaling card if you wanted to. So what you're going to need for this tutorial or this project is what we've just said, some journaling cards. I recycle my tea bags, so these are used tea bags. Let me show you a good one where I can show you the example. So they're used, and all I do is I just cut the tea bag, not even neatly, and I just shake it out over the bin once the tea bag has cooled down, and I just leave them on the side to dry. I leave them flat because I find that if you leave your tea bag crumpled up, you get sort of heavier tea staining in those areas. So all I've done is I've just collected tea bags for a couple of days. You know what us Brits are like, we love our teas. And then I just iron them. So I leave them to completely dry and then I just iron them, and then we come to this project. So you're going to need some tea bags. I do believe you can find some online, but I like the effects that they're tea dyed and I use a lot of tea anyway. And then all this is just copy paper, and what we're going to do is we're going to adhere the tea bags to the copier paper with some repositional spray, and then you're going to run it through your printer. Okay, so all I do is you don't want to print on this side that's got your little cut in, so that's the side where you're going to glue, and then it'll be face up. Okay, so all I do, literally just a little bit, and it's important to use repositional glue because you obviously want it to come off your paper. If you didn't have repositional glue, I guess you could use permanent, but then you'd have to cut out the copy paper, and the copy paper would be attached to the back. Let's look at another one on there. Yep, just about. Can't find where I actually cut this one. Sometimes you can cut them really well, but I don't really bother. I mean, when I say you cut them well, I mean you cut them so you can't tell that you've actually cut it. Just crease that bit. So yeah, I'll get on with that. Okay, so there we have it. I've glued those down. I'm just going to add a little bit more to that one. You don't want them to be overly glued. It's not really that necessary. But what you do want is you want the ones at the front of the paper to be glued down, because that's what's going to suck up into your machine. So I think I'm going to go with these flat ones to be the first ones. The square ones, should I say. Because they will stand a better chance. So what you do then is, if you're using a digital kit, you're just going to select your digital kit. So here's my laptop, I'll just bring it here, and I've chosen this paper in the Artie Maze kit because it has lots of nice designs on the corners, and even the ones in the middle will still come out really nice. So I'm just going to print that as I would normally and just pass it through my printer. Okay, so these is how they come out. This one, it actually got sucked in and did all of this. I think that one actually, another one got sucked in. Where's it gone? One from there. Maybe that's still in the printer. But because these are so thin, they don't jam the printer anyway. And all that's going to happen is as it sucks through, it just comes out at the feed. And that's all that happened with mine here. I might be able to do something and just cover that because that's a lovely image anyway, just by itself. And all you do is you just peel them off. And I mean, how gorgeous is that? Probably, you can still use the rest of this paper as well. So you're not wasting the paper. This one, well, that hasn't really got a huge design on it. It's only got the design on the edge. Same goes with that one really, but you can still use them. That one's got a little bit on. This one here, no, not much of a design, and it's just because of the way you position them on the paper in all honesty, but this one here has a dragonfly on, so that's lovely. So yeah, take that off. You can just see the dragonfly there. Hope you can see it. I hope it's the lighting's not off. There we go. So, yeah, you can still use that as lots of little bits for scraps. So what we're going to do now is layer it up as embellishments. I'm going to get my sewing machine and some of my supplies, and then we'll crack on with that. Okay, so I've got some lacy bits here. I've also got my tub of scrappy paper that I'll use to layer everything up. So the first one that I think I'm going to use is this one. So let's have a look for a journaling card that would go well on. That would go quite nice on that. But it would probably cover the majority of the design. Yeah, that's quite nice. Too similar, I think. Bit too similar as well. Yeah, that will cover the majority of it, I think. Or would that one be better with a round one? Yeah, I think that would be nice with a round one, wouldn't it? Talking to myself here, there's a few there that I can't really use, so it is a bit of an experiment, in all honesty, this type of thing. Okay, I'm going to go for a postcard with these ones. Yeah. So I'll put it there like that. I'll probably end up covering all of that postcard bit, in all honesty. So what I'm going to do first is layer it with some scraps. So this is why I keep all of my scraps, because they're brilliant just for layering this type of thing. And just bring my distress ink in and just distress all of the edges, because that will then make all of these really pop. Yeah. And I'm not going to glue anything at this stage because I am going to be sewing it. I'm just going to sew everything closed, sealed. Yeah, you know what I mean. I might do another little bit more of scraps. Maybe a little bit of book page might be quite good. So let's have a little rummage in what I've got. A little bit of maybe just a little bit of book page rather than all of that. Just a little bit. So just layer it up however you want, and then yeah, just distress it. This one's probably a little bit of a more longer video than what I usually do. I might speed some bits up, I might not even bother. So I hope you guys don't mind that it's a little bit more of a chatty video. Maybe something a little bit darker on the other side. So I'll just get a bit of brown paper. Where was that now? Maybe I will use a tiny bit of glue if I have any out. I might have to knock the camera one moment. I'm just going to use a bit of Pritt stick because I don't find that that really affects my sewing machine too bad. To be honest, I don't really find that glue, I wouldn't use it if I was using totally wet glue. Can't even remember where I had that now. Somewhere there. I don't find that wet glue affects my sewing machine too much. Yes, I'll have that there like that. Just put a little bit down the side. Loving that. And I'll just put a little bit of lace behind it now. I've got some of this tea stained neck curtain that I'll use. So put that behind there. So I'll add a bit of dimension on that side. Lovely. Then I might use some of this. Got this from the NEC in Birmingham when they had a craft show. This whole reel was only £1, so I think that's really, really good. There we go. So I'll just put that, I might put it slightly to the side there. What do you think? There we go. So I'm going to sew that now. I'll try and bring my sewing machine over and I'll try and position the camera so you can actually see what I'm going to do. But I'm not going to do a neat stitch. I'm sort of just going to go a little bit crazy on the edge. So let me try and change the setup. Right, so I think you can just about make out what I'm doing. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to have my sewing machine on just a normal straight stitch. And I'm just going to sort of go round the edge in the best messy way that I can. I have a white thread on here at the moment. I usually like to use a little bit more of a darker thread because it just shows up a little bit better, but we'll just use what I've got on here. And I don't go too fast, and I don't go too neat either. So what I'm finding there is it's just pulling in the middle a little bit, so I'll just pull it out. And I'm going to go around a second time because I think it creates a really nice effect when you've got two lines. Two lines that aren't even matching, that is a very good effect, I think. And if I want to turn it a bit more suddenly, then I just do that. Hope you can see. There we have it. We've made it back to the beginning, so I'll just do a back and forth stitch, whatever you call that. Such professional sewing language, I know. And I leave the tassels off, and there we have it. So what I'll do now is I might do a little bit of stamping and actually put a cancelled stamp on there. But I am very pleased with that. Obviously the back is out, but if you're going to use this as a tuck spot or anything, the back really doesn't matter, in all honesty. So I'll pause the video there and I'll come back and I'll show you the final ones that I've made. Okay guys, so I have made 4 embellishments from my printed tea bags. So this is the first one that I made on camera. All I've done is I've added a stamp on there, and that, as you can see, is the back. Second one that I've done is just on a lined journaling card that comes in the Artemis kit, and I've just laid it up there as well. Just love those images. That was actually the one that creased through the printer, and I just stuck that bit of lace on there as well. This is the third one that I've done, and I've added a little bit of colour into that one just because of the colour that was on the journaling card. And all of these are pretty much scraps, and as you could see, the paper that I put behind it is just scraps out of my scrap bin here. And this is the last one that I've done. I think this one's my favourite. I've layered it up with some like netting type thing there, like trellis it almost looks like. So that's it, and that's a close-up of it. That one's my favourite. I think that one turned out very nice. So there we go. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did like the video, don't forget to leave the video a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel, because something like 60% of people who are watching my videos aren't subscribed. So it would be very nice to know how many of you was out there who are watching this video. And yeah, thank you once again for all of your support. Bye.